Continuing from the previous episode 637. Chapter 1566. Challenge. The Yao clan specialized in alchemy, possessing the largest alchemist organization in the world. Although the Yao clan would feel some pride in their hearts when dealing with the alchemists from the Central Plains, it must be said that they did indeed have the ability to back up this pride. Perhaps it was due to their bloodline, but it was extremely easy for those in the Yao clan to learn how to refine medicinal pills. Moreover, the clan did not lack individuals with outstanding training talent. Hence, it might be true that the Yao clan did not have a large number of alchemists with skills equivalent to those alchemist grandmasters quite famous in the Central Plains, but, it was not hard to find outstanding individuals within their clan either. Since they were in possession of such capital, they would inevitably feel pride when compared to other alchemists. Of course, this was merely describing the middle level among the alchemist tier. The Yao clan did not hold much of an advantage in terms of the true alchemists that stood at the top of all alchemists. After all, their bloodline strength might allow them to have an easy time learning alchemist skills, but it was impossible to rely on to reach the peak of the alchemist world. At times, such talent might even become an obstruction to reaching the peak level. This could perhaps be considered a slight disadvantage of the bloodline strength. All alchemists were divided from Tier 1 to Tier 9. Tier 1 was the lowest level while Tier 9 was the highest. Those Tier 9 alchemist gurus were further divided into 3 levels: the Treasure Pill Guru, Mysterious Pill Guru, and Golden Pill Guru. The current Xiao Yan had already reached the Treasure Pill Guru level after having refined a Tier 9 treasure pill back then. Of course, this had not been verified by any organizations. At this level, a faction could no longer help him verify his tier because those of his tier were already at the peak of the alchemist world. A Mysterious Pill Guru was considered the peak of the alchemist world on this continent. There was hardly any of them. It had been nearly 1,000 years since someone had become a Golden Pill Guru, so no one was able to refine a Tier 9 Golden Pill. Above the Golden Pill Guru was the legendary D class. D was the ultimate and no one could surpass it. For most of those present, the first part of the medicinal ceremony was entertaining to watch. The younger generation of the Yao clan did indeed possess a talent that would cause an ordinary alchemist to envy. Those who had stepped onto the stage were Tier 6 or even higher-tiered alchemists. Many cauldrons rose, giving the square an extremely spectacular appearance. Of course, from the perspective of those like Xiao Yan, a pill refinement of this level was just like a group of adults watching some small children fight. There was nothing for them to observe. Hence, they merely shut their eyes and recuperated while there was an uproar over the appearances of many medicinal pills. The first part of the medicinal ceremony lasted for a couple of days. Only then did it come to an end. Fortunately, those present were not ordinary individuals. Many did not even shift their bodies during these few days. Xiao Yan's eyelids slowly opened just before the first portion of the medicinal ceremony came to an end. He glanced over the young individuals from the Yao clan and slightly nodded. After a few days of observation, he had seen just how strong the Yao clan was. Many of their young possessed extremely great talent. If they were lucky, they would be able to gain a seat within the alchemist world in the future. Moreover, by possessing such outstanding new blood, the Yao clan would continuously prosper. Of course, there was naturally a limit to this. If the Yao clan did not produce an elite Do Di following the flow of time, their bloodline strength would gradually be exhausted like the Xiao clan. At that time, the Yao clan would likely be no different than an ordinary clan. Even though that time would come, it was still in the distant future. Thinking of such things now would be worrying for no reason. While observing event over the last few days, Xiao Yan had also seen some familiar figures. That Yao Xingji, who had given Xiao Yan the invitation for the medicinal ceremony, had been discovered by Xiao Yan. Currently, Yao Xingji's alchemist skills had grown after the last few years of training. He had squeezed into the top 5 during this medicinal ceremony, which was quite a good result. That champion position had been obtained by that man called Yao Tian, whom Xiao Yan had met outside the demonic flame realm back then. He should be the most outstanding person among the younger generation of the Yao clan. The medicinal pill he had refined had actually attracted a 9-colored pill lightning, which surpassed everyone else. Even some of the elders within the Yao clan smiled upon seeing the colors. However, when their eyes unintentionally landed on Xiao Yan, who was recuperating with his eyes shut beside Yao Lao, the smile on their faces would quickly disappear before turning into melancholy. They had long since heard that Xiao Yan was already able to refine a Tier 9 medicinal pill. The pill lightning he had attracted was the Black Demon Lightning. Yao Tian's 9-colored pill lightning paled in comparison to him. The atmosphere of this stadium did not quiet down after the competition between the younger generation of the Yao clan was completed. Instead, it suddenly overflowed with excitement. Those many boiling eyes leapt over the stadium and finally landed on those stone chairs. They understood that the main event of the medicinal ceremony was these important individuals standing at the peak of the alchemist world. Ha! It is finally about to begin. Yao Lao slowly opened his eyes at this moment. He sensed the temperature of the stadium suddenly rise before laughing. Xiao Yan also grinned. His hand gently touched the jade cup. After observing things for a couple of days, he had unknowingly felt a little itch in his hands. Other than you, those participating in the main event will likely be Han Huzi, Old Man Shen Nong, and Elder Wanwo. These three individuals are all extraordinary people. In terms of experience, even I am greatly lacking compared to them. Yao Lao said. Yao Dan is not participating? Xiao Yan glanced at Yao Dan in the leader's seat and asked. Being the head of a clan, he must naturally wear a pride that belongs with his title. Yao Lao laughed. He immediately spoke in a grave manner. However, his alchemist skills are not any weaker than the four of you. The clan head of the Yao clan is the leader of the biggest organization in the alchemist world. It would be impossible for him to convince others if he did not have some ability. Xiao Yan laughed. He naturally understood Yao Lao's meaning. Moreover, regardless of how arrogant he was, he would not carelessly underestimate a frightening expert whose strength had reached that of a 7-star Do Sheng. While Xiao Yan and Yao Lao were softly chatting, Yao Dan, who sat in the leader's seat, slowly stood up. At this moment, all the eyes present gathered onto him. Ha! The appetizer is over. It is finally time for the main event. This elderly self understands what everyone is thinking. Yao Dan smiled faintly and continued as everyone focused on him. There will be 4 people competing in this medicinal ceremony. I will not talk anymore about these 4 individuals. I'm sure that everyone here knows them. The final victor among them will gain the title of the top alchemist of the continent. I think that no one will object to the victor taking that title. The 4 of you, please take the stage. Ha! Clan head Yao Dan is really forthright. I have long heard that the medicinal ceremony is the top alchemist gathering across the Do Chi continent. The reason I have come here today is to challenge everyone. My Han clan is a little interested in this title as the top alchemist of the continent. Therefore, I wish to come here and take it. Han Huzi's figure took the lead as he appeared in the air after Yao Dan's voice sounded. His calm laughter was provoking. HMPH, the Yao clan is a clan which refines medicine. It is perhaps better for this title to remain in the Yao clan. Elder Wanwo coldly snorted. His body flashed and appeared in the air. He did not give in as he faced Han Huzi. Cheers rose from the surroundings the moment Elder Wanwo appeared. This was the home ground of the Yao clan. Naturally, they were unwilling to see someone from the Han clan snatch away this unusually grand title. Although this elderly self does not have much interest in such vanity, allowing the title of the top alchemist on the continent to land on you is a great insult to the alchemists from my generation. Old Man Shen Nong stepped into the air. The walking stick formed by medicinal grass shook in his hand, causing the jade bottles to collide and emit a clear sound. He floated in the air. His tone was calm, but it was obvious that he greatly disliked Han Huzi. After all, the Han clan had an extremely terrible reputation among alchemists. Elder Wanwo, Han Huzi, Old Man Shen Nong. These 3 are definitely giants within the current alchemist world. This is really going to be an exciting show during this face-off. The stadium immediately turned into an uproar as everyone looked at the 3 individuals in the sky. Countless pairs of alchemist eyes were filled with excitement. The level that the 3 people above them had reached was something that they had been pursuing all their life. Han Huzi glanced at Elder Wanwo and Elder Shen Nong before smiling. He placed both of his hands behind him. The demeanor of a guru was displayed without a doubt. If one did not discuss character, the attainment of Han Huzi in terms of alchemist skills was indeed something that others would look up to. 3 of them have already appeared. Who is the last person? Countless pairs of eyes rotated over the 3 figures, but they quickly slid away. After which, they paused on a black-clothed young man in a stone chair. Xiao Yan smiled as he stood up in front of those many pairs of eyes. His body shook as an after-image appeared. His body also appeared in the sky as a clear laugh spread. I have long since heard that Elder Hun Huzi has stolen skills from the Pill Tower. Now the Pill Tower is also a member of the Sky Mansion. Being someone from the Sky Mansion, Xiao Yan wishes to represent the Pill Tower in challenging Elder Hun Huzi. Please try your best to teach me a lesson. A. Not sure what this sentence is trying to say. B. Modified. Means that the Yao clan was not full of skilled individuals, but they are still quite common if you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 638. Chapter 1567. Life Spirit Flame. Many people quietly started to sweat after hearing Xiao Yan's clear laughter. His words were relatively awful. It seemed that the Sky Mansion Alliance and the Hun clan did indeed resent each other. What razor-sharp tongue! If it is about challenging me, even your teacher Yao Chen does not possess the qualifications. Hun Huzi faintly laughed, but his face did not reveal the slightest anger because of Xiao Yan's words. It seemed that he boasted an extremely good temperament. However, the eyes he used to look at Xiao Yan were densely cold. There was a vague murderous intent surging in them. Oh, teacher said that I should be able to deal with you. Hence, there is no need for him to intervene. Xiao Yan fondled his A.B. chin. The smile on his face was quite brilliant. Nevertheless, the words he spoke clearly did not give Hun Huzi any face. Ha ha, in that case, I am rather curious. Hun Huzi softly laughed, after which, he ceased uttering any unnecessary words. With a wave of his sleeve, a black flame erupted from his body in all directions. It formed a 1,000-foot large black fire cauldron in the sky in front of him. There was a strange devouring power vaguely emitted from the fire cauldron. Nihility devouring flame? Xiao Yan, Elder Wanwo, and Old Man Shen Long suddenly focused their eyes. They cried out in deep voices as they looked at the fire cauldron being formed by the black flame. It is unexpected that such a heavenly flame has actually landed in the hands of the Hun clan. Old Man Shen Long frowned. His eyes were filled with a grave expression as he looked at the black fire cauldron. Being one of the elders within the alchemist world, he was clearly aware of the might of the nihility devouring flame. Summon the heavenly flames within your bodies. My nihility devouring flame craves their taste. Hun Huzi smiled as he looked at Xiao Yan and the other two and laughed. It is merely the seed flame of the nihility devouring flame, yet you actually act so domineering? Xiao Yan softly laughed. Although the feeling that the nihility devouring flame within Hun Huzi gave him was far stronger than that of the chief of the Hall of Souls, it was still unable to reach the frightening level of the true devouring flame. Clearly, the nihility devouring flame in this person's hand was also a seed flame. Hun Huzi narrowed his eyes slightly upon hearing Xiao Yan's tone. He had not expected Xiao Yan to be able to identify the flame this quickly. However, he immediately laughed. Xiao Yan was able to recognize his nihility devouring flame, but Xiao Yan was unaware that his nihility devouring flame was not an ordinary seed flame. The nihility devouring flame was extremely mysterious. Only a few rare individuals were even aware that the seed flames of the nihility devouring flame could be separated into different levels. Among the many ordinary seed flames were two types of mysterious seed flames. They were called the heaven and earth seed flames. The nihility devouring flame in his hand was the earth seed flame. This so-called earth seed flame could be considered a baby form of the nihility devouring flame from a certain point of view. Its might was far from what the ordinary seed flame in the hands of the chief of the Hall of Souls could compare with. Although such a seed flame was relatively powerful, if the mother of the flame was damaged, the many seed flames connected to it would automatically disappear and turn into essence energy that would gather in the main body. Such a matter was considered a secret. Even Yao Lao and Xiao Yan had never heard of this information. Hence, they were only able to identify the heavenly flame in Hun Huzi's hands as a seed flame. They could not identify that it was the boss of the seed flames, the earth seed flame, but even if they had recognized it, Xiao Yan's expression would not pale. The purifying demonic lotus flame within his body had mutated after merging with so many heavenly flames. Forget about this nihility devouring flame only being a seed flame. Even if the true nihility devouring flame were to descend, Xiao Yan might not even fear it. Whether you can swallow our heavenly flames will depend on your ability. Elder Wanwo coldly snorted. He immediately waved his sleeve. A faint black wind suddenly whistled out of it. The wild wind swiftly moved through the air. If one were to look carefully, one would discover that it was not a fierce wind, rather it was a mysterious flame. 9 Serene Wind Flame. Xiao Yan was a little surprised as he glanced at the wild wind flame that had been summoned by Elder Wanwo. It was not the first time he had seen this 9 Serene Wind Flame. When he had met Yao Xingji back then, Yao Xingji had been carrying this heavenly flame, but from the looks of it, it seemed that this heavenly flame had been taken back. Ha ha, old man Wanwo, you are becoming more proficient in your usage of this 9 Serene Wind Flame. Old man Shen Nong laughed out loud after seeing Elder Wanwo summon the heavenly flame. The medicine grass walking stick in his hand gently pressed down on empty space. He laughed. In that case, this elderly self will also have to perform. After uttering these words, the medicinal ingredient walking stick in his hand self-ignited without the presence of a flame. A liquid-like green flame slowly rose. Finally, it swelled with the wind. Layer after layer of a fog rose from the green liquid-like flame. The countless mysterious medicinal ingredients slowly grew while the fog rose. They emitted a life force, which caused one's expression to change. This is the heavenly flame ranked 5th on the heavenly flame ranking. Life Spirit Flame? ? Surprise flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes as he observed the spreading life force. A strange expression flashed through his eyes. The Life Spirit Flame was ranked 5th on the heavenly flame ranking. This heavenly flame was extremely mysterious because most flames were filled with a destructive force despite their many forms. However, this Life Spirit Flame did not display an overly strong destructive force. Instead, it was filled with a life force. It was rumored that when such a heavenly flame was used, any medicinal ingredient seeds within it would swiftly sprout and grow. In other words, one would not need to worry about searching for medicinal ingredients with such a heavenly flame. As long as one possessed sufficient seeds, one would be able to obtain the medicinal ingredients one needed. Thus, this flame was extremely mysterious. Moreover, this Life Spirit Flame was considered a longevity flame. The person who obtained it would have a lifespan comparable to those magical beasts famous for their long lives, but the only disadvantage was that this flame was not suitable for combat. It did not really increase one's fighting strength. Xiao Yan had also heard about this Life Spirit Flame, but this was the first time he saw it. That rich, tempting life force caused one to feel relaxed and full of energy. Hun Huzi's eyes stared intently at the Life Spirit Flame in old man Shen Long's hands. A greed flashed across his eyes. Everything in this world possessed a limited lifespan. If one could obtain this flame of life, one would be able to greatly extend one's life. That allure was relatively intense even to someone like him. It is actually the Life Spirit Flame. Old man Shen Long, you are quite lucky. Elder Wanwo's expression was also a little envious as he stated with a smile. When this Life Spirit Flame was formed, its intelligence would be relatively high. Normally, it would not appear in the shape of a flame. Instead, it transforms into various medicinal ingredients. After which, it simply quietly takes root in the soil. At times, it was impossible to identify it even if one were to walk past it. Only those who were extremely lucky would be able to find it in the soil. Ha ha, I was merely lucky and unexpectedly found it while I was searching for medicinal ingredients. Old man Shen Nong fondled his beard and smiled as he replied. Being able to obtain such a heavenly flame was quite a joyous thing for someone like him, who did not like to compete with others. I heard that young friend Xiao Yan has subdued the rumored purifying demonic lotus flame. I wonder if this is true? The eyes of old man Shen Nong suddenly landed on Xiao Yan as he laughed. Xiao Yan was looking at the green sea of fire above his head with a strange expression from a short distance away. Ha ha, I am nearly just lucky like Elder. Xiao Yan smiled. A fire glow rose on his shoulder. Little Yi appeared in a flash. Immediately, his eyes revealed an expression of disdain as he glanced at the other 3 clusters of heavenly flames in the sky. The only one that could appear in such a form was Little Yi. This is Heavenly Flame Spirit? The few people in the sky revealed a slightly different expression upon seeing Little Yi on Xiao Yan's shoulder. Their eyes became a little grave. They could sense an intelligence that was not inferior to that of humans from Little Yi. Being existences that stood at the peak of the alchemist world, they naturally understood just what a heavenly flame spirit represented to an alchemist. The legendary heavenly flame constitution would allow the heavenly flame in the spirit's hand to reach a near-perfect extent. That level was something that even people like them, whose spiritual strength had reached the perfect heavenly state, could not compare with. Although the heavenly flames in their hands were quite strong, they had still yet to reach the extent of forming a heavenly flame spirit. My Hun clan has targeted the purifying demonic lotus flame for so many years, but it has unexpectedly ended up landing in your hands, but it doesn't matter. These things will sooner or later end up being taken back by us. Hun Huzi's eyes flickered while a chill surged within them. Young friend Xiao Yan is really blessed. Back then, this elderly self once tried to subdue the purifying demonic lotus flame. However, I was nearly killed within the demonic flame realm. Old man Shen Nong fondled his beard and laughed. Xiao Yan smiled. After having experienced the demonic flame realm, he naturally understood just how difficult it was to subdue the purifying demonic lotus flame. If he had not possessed a remnant of the purifying demonic lotus saint's soul, it was likely that he could only flee far away. Although old man Sheng Nong was an outstanding alchemist, one could not rely on alchemy when trying to subdue the purifying demonic lotus flame. If the four of you have prepared, please open your cauldrons and refine your pills. Yao Dan in the leader's seat withdrew his envious gaze from little Yi as he spoke in a clear voice. Xiao Yan faintly laughed after hearing command. Little Yi on his shoulder widened its mouth. A thumb-sized pink fire cauldron flew out. It swelled with the wind and turned into a 1,000-foot large fire cauldron that floated in the sky. Many fire dragons lingered around the fire cauldron. A low and deep dragon roar echoed from it, and in an instant, the temperature of the stadium swiftly rose. A. Has Xiao Yan always had a beard? B. Chin, if you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 639. Chapter 1568, Alchemy Contest. The other three individuals withdrew some distance away while Xiao Yan's fire cauldron expanded. They separated this wide sky into 4 areas. Hun Huzi's body flashed and appeared above the black fire cauldron. After which, he sat down. With a wave of his sleeve, tons of medicinal ingredients flew out in all directions. In an instant, a rich medicinal fragrance immediately spread through the sky. While he began to refine a medicinal pill, Elder Wanwo in the distance had used the 9 serene wind flame to form a fire cauldron. At their level, they could do without medicinal cauldrons because they could randomly use their heavenly flames to form high-quality medicinal cauldrons. The person who had created the biggest commotion was Old Man Shen Long. The liquid-like green flame sea swiftly spread before he sat down within the sea of fire. He waved his sleeve and many medicinal ingredient seeds containing a strange fragrance swiftly scattered. Finally, they fell into the sea of fire. After which, the seeds swiftly sprouted in front of many stunned eyes. After which, they rapidly grew within the fiercely burning flame. Old Man Shen Long smiled as he looked at the rapidly growing medicinal ingredients. He flicked his finger and ripples formed in the sea of flames. They swiftly agglomerated into droplets of a pure green liquid. It was vaguely possible to see traces of fire seedlings rising from the liquid. A rich life force seeped out it. The green liquid stopped above many medicinal ingredients. After which, a drop quietly dripped down. After this fire liquid entered these medicinal ingredients, the medicinal ingredients appeared to have consumed a catalyst. Their rate of growth soared. Within a dozen minutes, the many seeds turned into various rare medicinal ingredients before they grew some more. They moved joyously within the green sea of flames. It is indeed worthy of being the life spirit flame. Xiao Yan in the distance involuntarily praised after seeing this mysterious scene. Other than possessing a weak combat ability, this life spirit flame was really the heavenly flame that was the dream of all alchemists. It would truly be a divine object in the hands of the Pill Tower or the Yao clan. Although Xiao Yan understood that spurring the growth of the medicinal ingredients would greatly exhaust the user, many of these medicinal ingredients required at least 100 years to grow. This exhaustion was not worth mentioning compared to such a long period of time. Xiao Yan withdrew his attention after praising the flame. He looked at his huge pink cauldron, and with a wave of his hand, densely packed medicinal ingredients flew out of his storage ring. Finally, they stopped around the fire cauldron. The number of various medicinal ingredients were terrifying, causing many alchemists to feel somewhat speechless. Compared to the way these four individuals refined pills, the pill refinements earlier, including the 9-colored pill lightning Yao Tian had attracted, felt small and insignificant. Go! Xiao Yan's shoulders shook after summoning the medicinal ingredients. Little Yi flew out and entered the fire cauldron. Then, a crack was formed in the fire cauldron. A suction force surged and swallowed the thousands of medicinal ingredients floating in the sky. After which, a flame suddenly grew within the fire cauldron. He actually wishes to refine so many medicinal ingredients together? Even the faces of those elders from the Yao clan involuntarily twitched upon seeing these ingredients fly into the cauldron. The required composition of the thousands of medicinal ingredients that needed to be refined were all different. Could it really be possible to simply throw them all into the fire cauldron together? Yao Lao in a VIP seat merely grinned as he watched Xiao Yan. He had a relatively confident in Xiao Yan since Xiao Yan's skills as an alchemist had long since surpassed his teacher. Just how on earth did this fellow train? He is about our age, yet this fellow possesses the qualification to compete with Elder Wanwo. Ah! Many of the members from the younger generation from the Yao clan below the stage had clustered together, but the extremely proud youths from the Yao clan were currently suffering a great blow as they looked at the sky. Even Yao Tian, who had obtained the best result during the earlier part of the medicine ceremony, displayed a gloomy expression. Although he was very dissatisfaction in his heart, the enormous gap between Xiao Yan and him could not be ignored. Besides Yao Tian, the icy cold Yao Ling, who had been doted by everyone, was also watching the calm young figure in the sky with pretty eyes. This was the first time in so many years that she had seen someone similar to her age compete in terms of pill refinement with the elders of the alchemist world like Elder Wanwo. Such an achievement was something that caused even a blessed genius like her in the Yao clan to involuntarily feel an admiration within her heart. Yao Xingji, he did not appear this strong when we met him in the Jiyu clan, back then, did he? Yao Ling turned her head to look at one of her suitors beside her. At that spot was another person from the Yao clan, the one who had given Xiao Yan the invitation to the medicinal ceremony, Yao Xingji. At that time he was merely an ordinary Do Zun. Although his spiritual strength was powerful, it had not reached such a frightening level. Unexpectedly, he has already reached such a level within a short few years. Yao Xingji bitterly laughed. There was an unknown feeling in his voice. When he had met Xiao Yan back then, Xiao Yan boasted a similar strength. If the both of them were to engage in an alchemist match at that time, it would have been difficult to predict the victor. However, who could have imagined that there would be so a vast gap between the two of them when they next met? His spiritual strength already belongs to the same level as Elder Wanwo. Perfect heavenly state. Yao Ling's pretty eyes looked at the figure in the sky. An unusual glint flickered in them. Her soul was different from an ordinary person since she had been born. The clan head had once said that if she was sufficiently lucky, she might even be able to step into that legendary D-state soul. She had always been proud of her spiritual strength. Even her extremely talented older brother was weaker than her in terms of spiritual strength. Xiao Yan was the only person in the same generation to surpass her in terms of spiritual strength. The thousands of medicinal ingredients in the sky were all swallowed by the fire cauldron before Xiao Yan sat down. Being in possession of the heavenly flame spirit, his control while refining pills was a lot more relaxing than the others. With little Yi helping to perfectly control his heavenly flame, refining medicinal ingredients was a simple and ordinary task. A fierce pink flame wrapped around the fire cauldron like a huge fireball. Every couple of minutes, many small fireballs would rush out of the fire cauldron. Finally, they would rotate around the fire cauldron. These fire clusters were encasing different medicinal liquids and powders. All of them were necessary medicinal ingredients refined until they were very pure. The three others in the sky were also refining a large number of medicinal ingredients while the number of fire clusters floating around Xiao Yan's fire cauldron was increasing. Although they did not possess a heavenly flame spirit and were unable to catch up to Xiao Yan when it came to the effectiveness of their refinement, they were still gurus. Refining medicinal ingredients was a basic task. It was clearly not a problem to them. Many alchemists in the stadium watched the extremely smooth medicinal refinement methods in the sky. Their faces were completely immersed while a wild heat glowed in their eyes. This medicinal ingredient refinement continued for around a day before Xiao Yan finally took the lead to open his eyes. He looked at the densely packed fire clusters floating around the fire cauldron before he let out a deep breath and gently waved his hand. Many fire clusters rushed back into the fire cauldron. Soon after, a shocking energy fluctuation wildly spread from the medicinal cauldron. Even the fire cauldron had shook until it emitted a buzzing sound. Soon after Xiao Yan had completely refined the medicinal ingredients, Hun Huzi opened both of his eyes. He threw the many medicinal liquids that he had refined into his fire cauldron. After which, his hand seal changed. A loud cry sounded, "The world's strength, listen to my order." After Hun Huzi's cry sounded, a wild wind suddenly swept through the sky. An endless naturally energy gathered around the fire cauldron from all directions. Finally, it was devoured by the suction force being emitted. This terrifying devouring made the energy form a mottled energy storm, which crazily howled in the sky before it was completely devoured by the fire cauldron. This terrifying pill refinement aura caused many people to quietly swallow a mouthful of saliva. They had not heard that they needed to absorb natural energy when refining pills because extra energy would at times break the equilibrium of the medicinal properties, resulting in failure. However, this thinking clearly belonged to an ordinary person. The Yao clan elders and some alchemist gurus revealed shock on their faces at this moment. Even Yao Dan in the leader's seat showed an extremely grave expression. Gathering natural energy to refine pills, this method, he is actually planning to refine a Tier 9 mysterious pill. The activity caused by Hun Huzi was detected by Xiao Yan and the other two. Elder Wanwo knit his eyebrows. He let out a cold snort and changed his hand seal. A stern cry also sounded, "Natural energy, gather." Many members of the Yao clan were excited to hear Elder Wanwo's cry. He was also planning to refine a Tier 9 mysterious pill. Ha! Since the both of you have acted in such a grand fashion, this elderly self must naturally not fall behind. Elder Shen Nong laughed upon seeing the energy gather. He waved his sleeve and the surrounding natural energy once again became chaotic. Waves of majestic energy were dragged into the fire cauldron in front of him. Since the three of you are in such a mood, Xiao Yan can only join all of you. Xiao Yan faintly smiled as he watched the natural energy get dragged around in a chaotic fashion. The seal formed by his hands changed. A frightening suction force was emitted from his fire cauldron that forcefully dragged energy in, fearlessly snatching natural energy. The many alchemists present watched as waves of thunder roared and energy storms erupted in the sky. Their hearts were startled. The four of them were actually refining legendary Tier 9 mysterious pills. Such a scene was indeed an extremely rare occurrence. A. GU clan? B. Yes. Mistake by author. I think if you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 640. Chapter 1569, Snatching Energy. The four of them are all refining Tier 9 mysterious pills. Yao Dan watched these unusual phenomenons form in the sky from the leader's seat. His expression involuntarily became a little strange. With his eyesight, he was able to see through the battle of these four individuals. He might not be aware of the others' abilities, but he at least understood Elder Wanwo well. Elder Wanwo's alchemist skill might be quite great, but his chances of successfully refining a Tier 9 mysterious pill likely did not exceed 20%. Moreover, the refinement of a Tier 9 mysterious pill required the absorption of a relatively terrifying amount of natural energy. Although the energy within a 5,000-kilometer radius of this medicine mountain was extremely dense, it was clearly impossible for it to support the formation of 4 Tier 9 mysterious pills. Based on his estimates, even if all of the energy within a 5,000-kilometer radius of this medicine mountain was absorbed, it would be somewhat difficult to refine a Tier 9 mysterious pill. Moreover, these fellows were refining 4 of them together. If it was so easy to refine a Tier 9 mysterious pill, it would not be so rare in this world. Yao Dan slightly shook his head. He did not think that any of the 4 individuals would be able to successfully refine this pill in his heart. Hence, the 4 of them would likely fail and end up in a draw during this competition. Of course, his eyesight was sharp, and it was possible for him to look quite far ahead. However, the others did not possess such eyesight. Hence, all of them revealed shocked and joyous expressions as they stared at the sky. This unusual pill refinement scene was really extremely rare. Yao Lao also frowned as he sat in his seat. Although he was aware that Xiao Yan had obtained an extremely rare Tier 9 mysterious pill medicinal formula from the first elder of the pill tower before leaving, he had not expected Xiao Yan to pick it as his target this time around. Although a Tier 9 treasure pill and a Tier 9 mysterious pill was only a one-word difference, the gap between them was like the heavens and the earth. Although it was rare to find an alchemist who could refine a Tier 9 treasure pill on the continent, it was not impossible, but in the last 100 years, Yao Lao had never heard of anyone successfully refining a Tier 9 mysterious pill. From this point, it was possible for one to vaguely understand the difficulty of refining a Tier 9 mysterious pill. The energy in the distant sky crazily whistled before gathering into 4 huge tornadoes. One side of the tornado was connected to a fire cauldron while the other was wildly absorbing the rich natural energy. This natural energy continuously poured into the fire cauldron. The people around the stadium suddenly felt the dou qi within their bodies showing signs of breaking free from in the face of this all-out suction from the 4 individuals. Immediately, a shock rose in their hearts. They hurriedly pulled back in panic, afraid that the dou qi within their bodies, which they had obtained after much hard work, would be dragged away by the 4 storms in the sky. If that occurred, their losses would be far too great. This unusual phenomenon in the sky continued for a total of 3 days. During this period of time, everyone lost track of the amount of energy that had been absorbed. They could only sense that the flowing energy in the surrounding air had become a lot thinner. The medicinal ingredients around the stadium had even begun to show signs of turning into a withering yellow. Their energy had been forcefully sucked away. Refining a Tier 9 mysterious pill could basically be described as man creating a divine object. The energy needed to form it was frightening large, enough to shock many elite dou shengs. It had once been recorded in the ancient books that wherever a Tier 9 mysterious pill was born during the ancient era, everything within a 5-kilometer radius would turn barren because all the energy had been absorbed by the medicinal pill. This energy requirement was the reason why a Tier 9 mysterious pill would possess a shocking intelligence the moment it was born. Of course, there was still some difficulty if it wished to reach the level of the ancestor from the small pill tower. The ancestor's formation was partly due to luck. Moreover, the pill had merged with its owner's soul when it had been formed, resulting in the ancestor of the pill tower undergoing a transformation. After thousands of years of training, it had finally reached its current stage. Normally speaking, the ancestor was considered a completely unique existence. Although the members of the Yao clan felt some heartache for those medicinal ingredients that had turned yellowish, there was nothing they could do. Some of the Yao clan elders had quickly intervened and hurriedly placed some seals on the more precious medicinal fields around the Medicine Mountain. Otherwise, this Medicine Mountain would end up barren once the competition was over. The endless devouring continued for a total of 3 days. By noon of the 3rd day, everyone suddenly sensed the non-stop whistling in the sky suddenly become much quieter. They lifted their heads and saw the 4 huge tornadoes quietly disappear. 4,000-foot large fire cauldrons floated in the sky. An extremely shocking energy fluctuation vaguely spread from them. The ripples caused even the expressions of Xiao Yan and the 3 others to appear unusually grave. If the energy were to explode, they would at least be seriously injured if they even managed to keep their lives. All the energy within a 5,000-kilometer radius has been absorbed. Yao Dan grabbed at the empty air in front of him before helplessly shaking his head. The energy contained in the air had reached a frighteningly low amount. It would require at least a couple of months in order for the Medicine Mountain to recover its richness. There is insufficient energy in this place. The pill refinement has failed. The many elders from the Yao clan felt neither able to laugh nor cry. The embryonic form of the medicinal pills within the medicinal cauldrons of the 4 figures in the sky were only half complete, but the surrounding natural energy within a 5,000-kilometer radius had all been absorbed. There was no longer enough energy to support their pill refinements. The perfect heavenly state only allowed the 4 of them to control the natural energy within a 5,000-kilometer radius. Of course, if their souls had advanced to the legendary D state, things would be completely different. At that time, one would be able to control the energy wherever one's spiritual perception could reach for one's own use. It was rumored that during ancient times, those ultimate experts, whose souls had advanced to the legendary D state, could control nearly half of the central plane's energy with their thoughts. Just thinking of this level caused one to feel frightened. The eyelids of Xiao Yan and the three others in the sky were opened at this moment. They looked at the half-completed embryonic medicinal pills within their medicinal cauldrons and frowned. If they were unable to continue drawing energy from the surroundings, just their own Do Qi alone not enough to fill this huge pit. Looks like no one will be able to succeed this time around. Elder Wanwo bitterly laughed and shook his head. That may not be true. Elder Wanwo's words had just sounded when a strange laughter surfaced from Han Huzi in the distance. The seals formed by his hands suddenly changed. Finally, his hand ruthlessly slammed against the fire cauldron in front of him. 3 clusters of black flame pillars erupted and turned into 3 crazily rotating black holes in the air above the fire cauldron. A frightening devouring force surged. The vast and mighty energy that was absorbed by the fire cauldrons belonging to the other 3 during the last few days had turned into many light pillars that were forcefully swallowed by the black holes. Han Huzi, how dare you? The expressions of the 3 immediately became gloomy upon seeing their energy being sucked away. They had not expected this Han Huzi to be this bold. He had directly targeted them. Old Man Shen Nong and Elder Wanwo furiously cried out. The life spirit flame and the 9 serene wind flame immediately swept out and ruthlessly collided with the black holes, but this sudden assault caused the black holes to rotate with increasing speed. The devouring power erupted and swallowed both of their heavenly flames. Old Man Shen Nong's and Elder Wanwo's expressions immediately became ugly after seeing that their obstruction was futile. The life spirit flame might be ranked quite high, but it was more famous for its aiding ability. If they were to really battle, it was impossible for the life spirit flame to be a match for the Nihility devouring flame. The 9 serene wind flame was merely ranked 10th. It was extremely difficult for this flame to make up the gap between it and the Nihility devouring flame. Ha ha! The both of you actually wish to stop my Nihility devouring flame with these types of heavenly flames. You must be dreaming. Han Huzi loudly laughed, but his laughter had just sounded when his expression changed. His eyes hurriedly shifted to the black hole above Xiao Yan's fire cauldron. He saw a fire glow shoot out from that fire cauldron. After which, it turned into a fire baby. The fire baby wore an expression of disdain as he waved his small hand. A pink flame surged and wrapped around the black hole. The devouring power of the black hole was eroded by a mysterious purifying force the moment it met the pink flame. The Nihility devouring flame possessed a devouring power while the purifying demonic lotus flame possessed a purifying force. Although it was difficult to determine which was stronger, the purifying demonic lotus flame in Xiao Yan's hands not only possessed a heavenly flame spirit, it was also a genuine essence flame. On the other hand, Han Huzi merely controlled a seed flame. It might not be an ordinary seed flame, but it was obvious that it could not compete with the purifying demonic lotus flame that Little Yi had transformed into. Han Huzi, thank you for your gift. I will accept the energy within this heavenly flame. Xiao Yan slightly smiled. He purified that black flame into pure energy and poured it into the fire cauldron. Light surged within the fire cauldron and the embryonic medicinal pill became more solid. This brat! Han Huzi's expression sank as he sat in the distance. He had not expected to not only be unable to devour any energy, he had also lost a bit of energy for his seed flame. After suffering such a loss, he could only cease targeting Xiao Yan. Although his Nihility devouring flame seed flame was hard for Old Man Shen Nong and Elder Wanwo to deal with, it was clearly far from sufficient to deal with Xiao Yan's purifying demonic lotus flame. HMPH. You will not be able to remain pleased for long. Han Huzi's eyes flashed as he coldly laughed. The seal formed by his hands changed and the black holes devouring the energy from Old Man Shen Nong's and Elder Wanwo's cauldrons suddenly started to devour more. With an increasing amount of energy pouring in, his embryonic medicinal pill became brighter. According to this speed, it was actually showing signs of forming. Soon, a joy flashed across Han Huzi's face when he saw it solidifying. However, the moment joy appeared, a pink flame suddenly rushed over. It turned into a fire baby that stood on his fire cauldron. The baby curled his mouth in disdain. After which, he slammed his palm on the cauldron cover and subsequently grabbed the embryonic pill in front of Han Huzi's stunned eyes before escaping as smoke. You are seeking death. The dullness continued for an instant before Han Huzi's furious roar suddenly rippled across the sky. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 641, Chapter 1570, Pill Rain. The change of the situation was extremely comical. Little Yi had suddenly charged into Han Huzi's fire cauldron and grabbed the embryonic medicinal pill that had yet to take shape. This had not only caused Han Huzi to become furious, even Xiao Yan was stunned. This matter had nothing to do with him. Little Yi had taken his own initiative. Yao Dan and the many elders from the Yao clan on the stadium watched this scene with a stunned expression. A moment later, their faces twitched. They had comical expressions of wanting to laugh but forcing themselves not to. No one had imagined that Xiao Yan's heavenly flame spirit would be so extreme. Han Huzi had merely snatched some of their energy. Yet, it ruthlessly charged into the other party's fire cauldron and snatched the embryonic pill away. You deserve it. Han Huzi's actions early had irritated the elders from the Yao clan, so they laughed in a soft, gloating fashion. Yao Dan, who was in the leader's seat, shook his head without knowing whether or not he ought to laugh or cry. A proper medicinal pill competition had ended up in this strange situation where the competitors snatched from each other. This caused one to feel helpless. This little brat really doesn't follow an ordinary path. Yao Lao chided with a smile. He was unaware that this matter was completely unrelated to Xiao Yan. In front of many gazes, little Yi in the sky flashed and appeared in front of Xiao Yan. That small fleshy face was laughing. His hands were hugging a light cluster that was larger than his body. If one saw through the light cluster, one would vaguely see a baby-like light figure. This was the embryonic form of the medicinal pill Han Huzi had been refining. Xiao Yan, I will rip you into pieces today. The sound of wind and thunder exploded a short distance away. Han Huzi's face was densely cold. His demeanor from earlier had been destroyed by little Yi. This was the first time that such a thing had happened to him. The embryonic pill he had refined after much hardship had been taken away by little Yi even before he could see its shape. The fury within his heart could not be described with words. After Han Huzi's furious cry sounded, a black flame suddenly shot out of his fire cauldron in all directions before it turned into a black fire dragon that crazily rushed toward Xiao Yan. Its huge mouth was filled with an endless devouring force. Han Huzi, since you like energy, this elderly self shall give some to you. A green sea of flames suddenly swept over from below after the black fire dragon rushed forward. Countless huge trees grew almost instantly, after which, they appeared like vines as they entangled the black fire dragon. Old man Shen Nong, you actually dare oppose me? Although this sudden attack did not really harm black fire dragon, it had still managed to obstruct it. Han Huzi's expression immediately turned cold once the dragon was slowed. He looked at old man Shen Nong in the distance and cried out in a stern voice. This elderly self has already lived for so long. I have never been afraid of anyone. If I have the ability, I wish to eliminate a traitor like you who has betrayed your teacher. Otherwise, you bring shame to the face of all alchemists. Old man Shen Nong coldly laughed as he replied to Han Huzi's sharp cry. His tone appeared quite sharp. Given your strength, are you sick of living, old fellow? I have not even begun targeting that life spirit flame of yours, yet you dare to provoke me. Han Huzi's eyes were dark and cold. A savage smile lifted on the corner of his eyes. He clenched his large hand and the black fire dragon roared at the sky. It opened its huge mouth toward the green sea of flame below. A devouring power erupted as it swallowed the green sea of flames into its body. Woo! A pale black tornado was ruthlessly swung ruthlessly into Han Huzi's body just as he was about to swallow the sea of flames. A flame exploded and actually sent the black fire dragon flying. Wanwo, is your Yao clan trying to become enemies with my Han clan? Han Huzi's expression became extremely terrifying after being obstructed again. A devouring look shot toward Elder Wanwo in the distance as he demanded in a dense voice. The competition has nothing to do with the clans. Don't tell me that only you are allowed to attack me and I am not allowed to do the same? What a joke! Elder Wanwo waved his sleeve and ridiculed Han Huzi. Alright. The corner of Han Huzi's eyes twitched. He ended up laughing from extreme anger. His arm continued to tremble from anger. Strange black flames wiggled like poisonous snakes deep within his eyes. These flames were about to escape from his eyes when Han Huzi appeared to have thought of something. He hesitated for a moment and withdrew his gaze. He coldly laughed. You are thinking of blocking me with the strength of the both of you? The black fire dragon suddenly rushed forward after his voice sounded. It firmly wrapped around the tornado that the 9 serene wind flame had turned into. The 2 enormous creatures wildly churned in the sky. Hot rain made of fire descended from the sky. Fortunately, with the intervention of the elders from the Yao clan, the Medicine Mountain was not destroyed by the rain made of fire. Xiao Yan watched the 3 great heavenly flames engage in a chaotic battle a great distance away. He involuntarily felt a little surprised that Old Man Shen Nong and Elder Wanwo would intervene and lend him a hand. It seemed that it was really not easy to deal with Han Huzi. There is not much time. I must first extract the energy from this embryonic pill. A thought passed through Xiao Yan's heart. After which, he returned his focus to the embryonic pill from earlier. The energy needed to refine a Tier 9 mysterious pill was far too shocking, but if he added Han Huzi's embryonic pill, he would gain a higher chance of success. Snatching the energy from someone else's embryonic pill was an action that could not be undertaken by a regular alchemist because the 2 types of medicinal pills were different. The pill refinement would end in failure if they were randomly mixed. However, Xiao Yan did not worry about such a concern. With the purifying ability of the purifying demonic lotus flame, anything that entered Little Yi's body would be turned into the purest energy. This included the various medicinal properties in the embryonic pill. Little Yi, who possessed a mental connection with Xiao Yan, was aware of the thought that had passed through Xiao Yan's mind. He widened his mouth and devoured the embryonic pill. A vast and mighty energy crazily surged within his body before rapidly swelling. He transformed into a giant baby that remained suspended in the sky. Chi! After Little Yi's body swelled, the light cluster within his body brightened. The light cluster then transformed into a huge light pillar that shot into the fire cauldron. The frightening energy contained within the light pillar was so vast and mighty that it caused one's expression to change. Bastard! The embryonic pill had finished being refined. Han Huzi, who had some connection with it, immediately sensed something. His eyes turned blood red. A furious cry sounded. His figure charged into the black fire dragon. When his body entered it, the fire dragon's strength immediately soared. The dragon tail was swung, exploding the green sea of fire and the black fire tornado apart. Xiao Yan frowned as he looked at Han Huzi, who had charged over with a surging killing intent. He flicked his finger, and a black light flashed and appeared beside him. The Northern King's feet ruthlessly slammed against empty air. Its body appeared like a cannonball as it collided with the black fire dragon. An unusually intense battle erupted. The cluster of light within Little Yi's body slowly dimmed after Xiao Yan summoned the Northern King to fight Han Huzi. Finally, it disappeared. The energy inside his body had been purified and had poured into Xiao Yan's fire cauldron. It's still not enough. Even though the energy within the fire cauldron had become as viscous as a liquid after having devoured Han Huzi's embryonic pill, it still did not show any signs of forming. Xiao Yan frowned upon noticing this resistance. The energy that a Tier 9 mysterious pill required was far too frightening. Xiao Yan, the medicinal properties of my embryonic pill were disturbed by Han Huzi. Today, I shall give you a blessing. Whether you can refine the Tier 9 mysterious pill that I have sought for all my life will depend on your luck. Old Man Shen Nong in the distance quickly saw through Xiao Yan's situation. While Xiao Yan was feeling a headache because of the issue of energy, he waved his hand and a cluster of light flew out of his medicinal cauldron. Finally, it shot toward Little Yi. Thank you, Elder Shen Nong. Xiao Yan rejoiced upon seeing the light shooting over. He cupped his hands and thanked Old Man Shen Nong. Oh, I have not seen a Tier 9 mysterious pill be born for hundreds of years. This time around, I will treat this as an eye-opener. Elder Wanwo by the side hesitated for a moment after seeing what Old Man Shen Nong did. Finally, he softly sighed and tossed the embryonic medicinal pill in his medicinal cauldron to Xiao Yan in front of the stunned gazes of many Yao clan elders. Thank you very much. Xiao Yan took another glance at Elder Wanwo. His heart had formed a good impression of this member of the Yao clan, the first good impression of the entire clan. He cupped both of his hands and ceased delaying. After which, he tossed the 2 embryonic medicinal pills into Little Yi's body. They immediately turned into 2 vast and mighty light pillars that shot into his medicinal cauldron. After an incomparably mighty energy poured in, the liquid energy surging within the fire cauldron rapidly melted. A faint light slowly appeared in the middle of the cauldron before filling with liquid energy. Rumble. Dark clouds began to cover the clear sky the moment this tiny light spot appeared. The black mass covered the land. Black thunderbolts, which carried a destructive force, rapidly shuttled through the clouds. The deep roar of rumbling thunder caused many people to reveal stunned faces. It was the first time they had seen such terrifying pill lightning. Xiao Yan lifted his head. His eyes were wildly heated as he looked at the black lightning that covered the sky. His sleeve suddenly shook and the fire cauldron's cover was automatically flipped. A wave of medicinal fragrance that would not scatter swiftly spread apart. In the end, it formed various beads of different lusters that descended from the sky, as though a grand pill rain was occurring. The divine scene made the hearts of many alchemists involuntarily quiver. They actually began to kneel down. Yao Dan in the leader's seat inhaled a deep breath of air as he watched this scene. His voice trembled slightly as he softly muttered. Pill rain descends, Mysterio pill appears. A. Unfinished, B. Done, C. Missed if you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible.